Hello and welcome back to another Unity 5 tutorial. In the last session we started getting our UMA initializer going. We've already made some good progress as we hit init UMA. Okay, that was not helpful. As we hit init UMA, it will create this object for us holding all the libraries and the context. And we've already populated the race library and the slot library. So let's delete all those and head back to MonoDevelop if you've got it still open. This is the UMA initializer script. And now we need to add our overlays. So I'm gonna copy all this, paste it in, and I'm just gonna try something to do it more efficient. You can also just rename them or leave the names if you like. Just need to make sure that the components are named right and all this stuff. I'm just gonna cut out my slots, and you might now be thinking, oh no, what is he doing? I hope it all makes sense later. So what do we need to do? We have an overlay library instead of a slot library. So let's change that, and I'm gonna refactor the slot library. So it's right click, refactor, rename, and I call this overlay library. And this one would be overlays. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now slots data, I'm gonna refactor that to overlays data. And slot path, I'm gonna refactor that to overlay path. And now, just before I do anything silly, I'm gonna paste in the slots again. And I think we can do the rest manual. So what do we need? We're now not talking about a slot data asset. I guess you have guessed it by now. It's called an overlay data asset. What we're looking for, so we can replace that in those three places. And we're not adding a slot asset, but we'll add an overlay asset. Oh, I forgot to rename that one. Silly me. So this is an overlay asset. And that should be it. So likewise with the slots and the races, what we do is we're gonna search through the entire assets folder looking for any UMA overlay asset. Overlay data object or asset, and we're gonna place it in our overlay library. So we've added the overlay library script, and same way as we've added the slots, we now added all the overlays that are available in our folder. So, and the overlays, as I said, would be a synonym for the textures of the UMA body. And you can see, of course, here's the body, which is fairly important. There are different clothings, there are hair, eyebrows, so also sort of body parts that are just set up as a texture. The eyes as well, and stuff like that. So that's all, you will find all of these in the overlay library. So now the next component we need to work with, actually we're just gonna switch it around. We're just gonna do the context first. Does that work? Yeah, that should work. All right. So I'm just gonna cut out context, paste it underneath, and now the first thing we need to do is add our context script, UMA, how's it called? UMA context. Let's just refactor that one to context object. Hit enter, and this one is, I name it context. And we instantiate it in adding, or we get a reference in adding it right away to our object. There we go. And now can just have a quick look at it. Basically, the context holds those libraries we've added so far, holds them together. Oh, I'm always messing around with that. So here you have the race library, slot library, overlay library. We created all of them already, so it's okay to now add them to this object. So context dot race library will be our race library. Context dot slot library will be our slot library. Then we have context dot overlay library equals our overlay library. Okay, now we've got all this set. And the last component before our system is set up is the generator. So we're just gonna create, let me just copy those 2 lines, or first 3 once more, and we're gonna call this generator. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Now the generator, I'm gonna do that a bit different. If you want to take the time and put the generator together in the same way, please do so. I might do that later as well, but now we just need to have a look where we find our generator. And here it's actually a prefab. There's also the script, of course, but the script doesn't have the right settings. It doesn't have all those settings, and I just found it's easier to use the prefab. It's kind of breaking my approach a bit, but yeah, I'm just gonna do it that way for now. And so I just create a prefab folder, add our UMA generator duplicate in it, and put it in the folder. I just want to have it separate from the UMA folder. Everything I need needs to be in here. So we're gonna just instantiate this prefab, and in order to do so we need to use monobehavior.instantiate. Usually you can just call instantiate out of the box, since often you would derive your class from monobehavior. In this script we're not doing this, so we need to call the class in order to have access to the function instantiate. And here we're gonna use the asset database, load asset at path of type UMA generator. And here I just put now the path in it hard coded, so that's not really, as I said, it kind of breaks my approach to all those other components, but just bear with me on that one. Okay, so what this line does, it instantiates whatever is in the parentheses, and we load our prefab. We also could have put it in a resources folder, but yeah, I've done it in that way now. So the generator has a name. It's called UMA generator, and we're gonna parent it. Like we've done with all the other objects. So now I just gonna save the script and delete our UMA object, hit init UMA. So first of all, we look at the context, everything is set as it should. And there's an error. Let's have a look at it. Okay, I think I'm just gonna try if it is. Oh yeah, there's an error, sorry about that. So we just had the wrong class or the wrong type here. So I head back to Unity, the error is gone. Can also delete all that. So same again, init UMA, and here you'll find now we have still nothing. Sorry about that. I'm a bit puzzled. I might have gotten my path wrong. UMA prefab. It's those small mistakes that really make every day special. So yeah, there it is, UMA generator. And now as we look at it, everything is set. The only thing that is missing, I mean, the UMA data gets created at runtime, so we don't need to worry about that right now, at least. All settings are done, only the mesh combiner is missing. And there's the bell, so I'm gonna open the door. So we were looking at the mesh combiner, and in the example, what we looked at the beginning, in the example scene, the mesh combiner was actually on a separate object, but we can just add it straight into this slot. So in monodevelop, we can just create it or instantiate it, UMA default mesh combiner, and generator, gain object, add component, UMA default. Oh, sorry, cannot type anymore. UMA default mesh combiner. And so now we've just added it as a component to the same object, to our generator object, and now we need to set the public variable of the generator script still. Like so. Okay, so I don't know if there are any downsides to this method, if there's a special reason why in the example scene it's on a separate object, but yeah, if I find out, I'll let you know. So now we save the script, and with that, just delete once more our UMA object instance, or set it up new, and now you can see there's a default mesh combiner. We have a context set up. We have all the overlays, all the slots, and all the races set. So this is basically our starting point. And yeah, so now we still would like to see something. So this is not quite yet what you were hoping for, I guess, as you've heard about UMA. So we're just gonna quickly add another menu item in our script. Call this UMA tools test UMA. So we just, the goal of this function will be to instantiate one test UMA just to see something. And later on, as we continue in the character series, we're gonna work with the UMAs as game characters. And oh, sorry, what am I doing? Test UMA. Yeah, so as we wanna try out scripts for walking around, for interacting, then we just need test UMAs, so this will be a function that is helpful later on. Test UMA gets a name, it's called test UMA. Excuse me. So we need a dynamic avatar script. And the avatar script has this bool called load on start. We set this to true. So this one comes in handy if you don't want to set up your UMA right away as you hit start. If you have many of them and you have different regions maybe that are not even accessible right at the start, you don't need to load all your UMAs. Okay, now we need the recipe. And here we're going to use the same method as we've used before with searching our whole assets folder. I'm going to go for Hugo. So first we're going to look for all the Hugos that are out there. Asset database, find assets. So our filter looks a bit different this time. So basically what this is, you know this line, so we are looking for an asset of type UMA text recipe, and this one, it's just a string in the beginning telling the filter that we're looking an asset having containing this string in the name, in the file name. So then we need a Hugo path. Hugo, I don't even know how you would say it. Chose the wrong example. Hugo asset database, guide to asset path, and here we can use the first of our Hugos or Hugos, and sorry, then we can set the UMA recipe to asset database load asset at path of type UMA text recipe at path Hugo path. So this is our text recipe, Now it would work already, but our UMA would stand in the default T-pose. I don't really like the T-pose all that much. So let's add an animator. And this time I'm just gonna copy and paste. So we're gonna look for all the animators. This one might not work all that well if you have more animators. But if we just look into our UMA package, there is animators. There are those two animators, and if we look for them, this is the one we'll get first, and that's the one I want. So that works out pretty well. The type is, in case you didn't know, runtime animator controller. So those filters are a bit tricky since it's strings. You don't get auto-completion here. Make sure you spell them right. Animator path, and just clean this all, and this would be our runtime animator controller. Just make sure that I didn't spell it wrong. Okay, and we're not setting the UMA recipe here, but actually the animation controller. So I think that's it. Let's head back and look at the error. Instantiate. The thing you want to instantiate is no. Oh, I think is that still our old error? Yeah, it is. So now I didn't have to do that, but yeah, so our UMA object is instantiated, and now we put in a test UMA who is standing here, and as we hit play, there is Hugo, or or however you want to call him, but he's standing here in front of us with the right animation, locomotion applied, and the right recipe, the right context. Everything is working out of the box. So actually that script is looking for the context in our hierarchy view, and it's creating the UMA data from scratch. So I think that's a wrap for now. In the next episode, we're going to start interacting with our UMA. Yeah, we're going to have a look how to move him around in our scene. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.